So Skeletons by Stevie Wonder turns out to be the perfect song choice in terms of Grand Theft Auto 5. And the reason is because when you think about skeletons in the forefront, you think about stuff that's hidden in a checkered past. If someone ends up finding out, then it might change the way that they feel about you, in terms of how they approach you and everything else going forward. Skeletons is something that Grand Theft Auto, the series and the franchise, knows very well, and Rockstar knows as well. Because when Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 were created, it was pretty much an open world kind of sandbox game where you can go ahead and just have mindless fun. It doesn't have a lot of other story and stuff going for it, but it just take it for what it was. Grand Theft Auto 3, when it came out on 2001 on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, finally developed into some realistic graphics, some storytelling as well, and took everything that you might have liked from Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 and brought it into a better package. And then in between that timeline was Vice City and San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto 4 comes out. There's a lot more expectations in terms of it being on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. In terms of all of this, you get a game that has better graphics, and I can't speak for everybody, but when I talk about for myself, it was a game that let me down a little bit because I thought Grand Theft Auto 3 was so good, I thought Grand Theft Auto 4 would continue that same part of the franchise, and it let me down a little bit. When Grand Theft Auto 5 was announced 3 years ago, it's hard to believe it's been that long already, that this game was so good, honestly, I just ended up beating it for the next gen iterations, that it's hard to even imagine where this series has come from because it culminates everything from great gameplay, great storytelling, great graphics, good voice acting, character development, everything in the sandbox, the online play, all of the stuff that you come to expect from Grand Theft Auto, even the mindless stuff like rampages and the radio content, the commercials, the just random things that you can seemingly do. It combines all of that into one fitting package that's finally worth being said, being the best Grand Theft Auto game not only in history, but one of the best games in history of gaming, period. I've been gaming since 1987, and I can definitely tell you that this is in my personal top 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is an achievement, and Rockstar should certainly be proud of themselves and what they ended up concocted, because this is a series that's gone from just mindless tedium, maybe just some boring fun, into something that's a full-fledged A-plus 5-star movie and combines everything else into Grand Theft Auto that you loved and brings it into one culminating package that should not ever be missed by anyone. Grand Theft Auto 5 does something better than I think that's never been done before in terms of any game. Because when you think about character development, you have protagonists. You got 3 protagonists. And yes, the multiple protagonists has been done, but you've never been able to switch between these protagonists like this so efficiently. Because when you think about Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, yes, we'll get into all of these games in a little bit more depth as we go forward into this review. But you think about it in the fact that when you switch to one of these guys at any time, all of the other ones are alive. So while you're completing, for instance, missions with Franklin, you might find that Trevor is drunk on the rooftops of some other building. Or that Michael will be jamming to Phil Collins' I Don't Care Anymore in his car. Or Franklin might be coming out of a strip club. You'll find that all 3 of these characters will be going ahead and doing their own thing at any given point in time. And I think that that's pretty freaking cool, honestly. Because it's not something that you get the thing for anytime you think that they're just going to be standing there waiting for you to interact. All of these guys are live. And it's up to you when you want to interact with them. And I think that that's pretty cool. In terms of the character development, we get a little bit more in depth. You got Franklin, Michael, and Trevor. Franklin, yes, Grand Theft Auto continues to use stereotypes, and that's something that you knock him for, but be that as it may, Franklin is one of those guys that comes out from the hood. He's a black guy that tries to deliver himself a better life. He's tired of selling drugs. He wants something more of his life. Michael and Trevor, like I said, I keep this review pretty much spoiler free for you here, just in case you're playing this game for the first time, that you'll find within the first 5 minutes, not much of a spoiler there, that Michael and Trevor, they go into a bank heist, something goes wrong, one of the friends gets buried into the ground, and there's some miscommunications, there's some skeletons that are up once again between these 3 characters as they find their branches begin to path once and for all, and multiple times throughout the game. You'll end up finding that all of these characters have just great storytelling between all three of themselves, and it's just something that Rockstar should be commended for, because the multiple protagonists, like I said, it's been done, but it's hard to believe that you have three protagonists that you end up caring about so much, because it's so hard to get just one person, and I know that there's billions and billions of you out there, and you're all going to have different tastes in terms of the characters that you'll end up liking the most in this game, but it's just so hard to think about just one character that you're going to like so much in this game, let alone three. The fact that you'd be able to empathize with Franklin, Michael, and Trevor at any given point in time and care about all of them at any given point in time, regardless of all of their pasts, and be it as weird as it may be, it's absolutely incredible. The fact that Rockstar is able to get you three characters to be able to care about so much. And the storytelling and all that stuff, maybe you might be able to see some of the stuff that's coming, but the voice acting, the character development, all of that stuff is just so spot on. It's absolutely incredible. And Rockstar has given you three protagonists that I think that are done better than any other game that's ever been made at this point. And that's quite a compliment. When you think about the fact that there's certain things you want to talk about with Grand Theft Auto being shrouded in misery, in terms of shrouded in just misery and mystery, is the fact that there's a lot of feminazis out there. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about something that's happening in the 8th generation of gaming right now. But let's talk about some of these feminazis first. I'm talking about the people out there that say this game has no purpose, no point. It is just overly violent, degrading against women. It just does everything wrong. It should be censored. It shouldn't be put on stores. Heck, you even think about this within the last week and a half, it's been taken off the shelves of Target and Kmart. There's even been some rumors that it's going to be taken off some of these Amazon store places. And it's just absolutely incredible that we're living in 2014, going on 2015, that you're thinking about censoring ship a video game. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because Rockstar, when you think about it, Grand Theft Auto 5 has turned into a global mega buster of a franchise. It's absolutely incredible. And from where this series has come from and all these roots, I think people just go out there and they say that they want to say all these bad things about this game when they haven't even seen what it is in the first place. And they haven't even played it in the first place. If you even give this game a fair shot, you would end up seeing that this game is everything and worth of your time because it's built. All of that stuff. And there's a mature label on the game for a reason, people. If you're going to go ahead and put this game and say that all these bad things about it, there's an M label for a reason. Don't put this game in the hands of the people that shouldn't even be playing it yet. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. People want to go out there and bash the game for everything that it is. Take a look at how much this series has grown and everything else that's out on the market right now in terms of these TV shows and everything else that you deal with on a daily basis. This isn't anything new. All of this stuff is going out there, and now it's just giving you a fantastic story, character development, gameplay, everything else, and rolling it all into one. If you want to go ahead and blame Rockstar for all of that stuff, I think these people need to take a look in a mirror amongst themselves and figure out and give this game a fair shake in terms of everything that it's brought to the table. Because I really don't think it's that bad in terms of everything else that they make it out to be. If you want to go ahead and assess blame, this is where I assess it. In terms of this 9th generation now that we have with Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and it started a little bit with Microsoft, in my opinion, in this Xbox 360, in this world of microtransactions and unfinished games and developers and game companies not living up to their promises. Heck, we got some stuff now here with the Lizard Squad on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. You're aware of all that stuff, all these hacks that come out, these stupid groups that try to get attention, that say that they want to go ahead and take down Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Well, we're paying all this money right now for these companies to go ahead and play our games online, and yet they're going to go get attacked. We're paying all this money right now to some of these games coming out there to try to release early. I'm looking at you, Electronic Arts, EA Sports, Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Unity try to go out there to release their games earlier to try to meet their quarter marks, to get in rush for these holiday sales, to go out there to try to get people to buy these $60 games that are all just buggy and unfinished that shouldn't even be worth 20 bucks. I'm looking at all of you guys out there because Rockstar certainly deserves all the credit of being able to take all the extra time. Yeah, they re-release the game for the next gen, but they beef it up with all this extra content to put in there for you. They took all their time to re-release these games and make them perfect. Why can't all these games just coming out there now do it? It's absolutely incredible to think about all that. Why can't all these games out there now be worth your actual money? Think about Rockstar. They should be commended with all of that. They're not releasing a game that's buggy, unfinished, unplayable. They're giving you something that's an absolutely incredible experience that should be shared by everybody that's deserving to be shared of and of the right age. This is what should be happening in the new next gen. Now we get all these more powerful systems, but we get all these games that just aren't worth our time. But yet all these companies want to try to release a $60 game and claim that it's worth all that money. Screw that. If you want to talk about true things to complain about, true crimes all these feminazis want to hit on the Grand Theft Auto series, let's start blaming all these game companies releasing all these unfinished games. That's my beef on that. Thinking about everything else, closing out the review, I think that's hit everything on the head for the Grand Theft Auto. Like I said, talking about everything else that Grand Theft Auto has brought to you, if you want to play all of your online stuff, it carries over. So you're not missing anything. You get to take all of the stuff from the experience from the story. The story is unchanged, like you mentioned, but you bring all the online experience, you play with your friends. The one minor complaint that I have that has nothing to do with the game is if you want to go ahead and correctly set up an online game, set up a crew in the Rockstar Social Club, and then invite your friends from the crew, and then play the jobs that way. So then you're not end up waiting more to play these games than you should. Because if it's all set up correctly that way, you won't have to wait. And I definitely think that that's a good thing and the best way to do it. So, with the heist and all that we mentioned, there is the multiple branching paths. So there's more than one way to attack it. And it's hard to believe because the game is so good already that you would get multiple branching paths. That means there's more replayability as well. In a story mode that's probably going to clock you about 12 to 15 hours, I think that's a pretty good mark. Multiple branching paths for the heists. Your crew will develop the way that you want them to, so it's up to you to figure out whether to take your crew in for the right jobs and make the right calls. Because if you take guys that are in the wrong spots, then you might end up being in trouble. And I think that that's pretty cool. So it's up to you to figure out the right situations. Like I said, I keep this review pretty much spoiler-free. You can get at me, facebook.com/TBUGunslinger, or Twitter at JohnRyanOut, shoutengine.com/sportsinthed, and yourlisten.com/TBUGunslinger. Let me know what you think of GTA 5. Happen to think it's one of the greatest games in history of gaming. I've been gaming since 1987. I put it in my personal top 5. Where would you rank Grand Theft Auto 5? Because I certainly think that even if you're thinking about buying this game a second time, it's easily worth the 60 bucks. This is John Out signing off, everybody. Have a great night, and I hope you enjoy the game. Peace out.